Today I have a very interesting topic to share with you all. But before we begin, I want you to observe a few powerful images. Take a look at this magnificent gate. This is not just any university entrance, this is a gate of the revived Nalanda University, a place that stands as a symbol of India's rich intellectual and cultural heritage. This great vision of reviving Nalanda University was inspired by none other than APJ Abdul Kalam, our former president and true visionary in the field of education. He believed in the power of knowledge, and under his leadership, the idea of rebuilding Nalanda University came to life. Now look at this peaceful setting. This was once an open library where students from different corners of the world would sit around and engage in deep learning and discussion. The environment itself encouraged knowledge, sharing, and reflection. Today, Nalanda University is once again attracting students from across the globe. It is not just a revival of a structure, it is the revival of a legacy, a tradition of learning that once made India a global hub of education. As you are now aware about contemporary revival of Nalanda University, let us study more about its historical importance in our today's chapter, The Age of Guptas. The Gupta period, which flourished from around 4th to 6th century CE, is often referred to as the Golden Age of ancient times. This area is remembered not only for its cultural and intellectual achievements but for the structure and characteristics of the society at that time. To begin with, life during the Gupta age was marked by peace and prosperity. During the Gupta rule, people were prosperous and happy. A Chinese traveler named Fahim visited India during this time and gave a very positive account. Fahim writes that people did not lock their houses, which suggests that crimes such as robbery and theft were rare. People were honest and law-abiding. However, while the society was peaceful, it was also deeply divided. The caste system, dominant and rigid. Indian society was primarily divided into 4 varnas. The social structure followed Varna system, which divided people into 4 groups. First, Brahmins. They were the highest caste and served as a priest, teachers and scholars. They were respected for their knowledge of the Vedas and were responsible for conducting rituals and guiding spiritual life. Second is Kshatriyas. They were the warriors and rulers responsible for protecting the kingdom and enforcing law and order. They held political power and were often members of royal families or military commanders. Third were Vaishyas. The merchant, traders and farmers fell into this category. They contribute to the economy through trade, agriculture and commerce. They were relatively well off but held a lower status than Brahmin and Kshatriyas. And the fourth category, these were the servant, and they were known as Shudras. These were the servants and laborers, artisans, who worked for the other three castes, and they were not allowed to perform religious rituals and were considered at the bottom of the Varna system. The Shudras were also known as untouchables or Chandalas. They were treated badly. They were considered so impure that high caste people did not even look at them. The untouchable lived outside the town, and when they were approached to market place, they had to strike a piece of wood. They were not allowed to enter temples or any religious places. Untouchables were not even allowed to draw water from the wells used by the upper caste. They were denied to access public facilities and couldn't drink water from the same vessels as the higher caste. This highlights the extreme level of social discrimination they faced daily. During the Gupta age, the status of women saw a significant decline compared to the earlier times. One of the major concerns was the practice of early marriages. Girls were married off at the very young age, often before they could understand or experience childhood fully. This early responsibility left them with no opportunity for personal growth. Education for girls was almost completely neglected. They were not allowed to attend schools or learn freely. Society believed that women's role was to confine to household duties, and learning was seen as unnecessary for them. The harsh reality of the time was the practice of sati, where some widows were forced to expect to burn themselves alive on their husband's funeral pyre. While it wasn't widespread across all regions, it was a symbol of how little value was placed on woman's life without her husband. Even for widows who did not perform sati, life was extremely difficult. They faced severe restriction. They had to follow strict rules, live a scheduled life, were often treated as burden. Women were discouraged from attending social function, further isolating them from community life. Overall, the Gupta, though advanced in many fields, reflected a deep patriarchal and unequal society for women, where their rights, voices, and freedoms were heavily restricted. Guptas strongly encouraged education, believed in knowledge, and took several steps to promote it. Education was encouraged especially among the upper caste, and centers of learning were developed across the kingdom. Kumar Gupta founded the Nalanda University. University at Nalanda in modern Bihar. It attracted scholars from across India. The Nalanda University was the first residential university in the world. Over 10,000 students and 2,000 teachers lived here. Only male students were admitted in this university. The library of the university was spread over 3 buildings. One of the 3 buildings was called as Ratna Sagar, which means an ocean of gems. The students who wanted to join the university were interviewed by senior monks. When the monks were convinced that a particular student was serious and keen to learn, he was granted admission here. Apart from Buddhism and Hinduism, grammar, logic, medicine were also taught in this university. The other university, such as Takshashila, Vallabhi, Ujjaini University, were other famous university of this period. Today we have learned about the society of Gupta period, about their caste system, education, and different university of Gupta period. Now let me evaluate how much you have learned. Describe Nalanda University in your own words and how was the status of women during the Gupta age. Students, in our today's class we have learned about the Gupta age. In our next class we shall learn more about the religion of the Gupta age. Thank you.